What's up, everyone? I'm Jaren, and today we are talking about Clerks 3. This closing chapter is written and directed by Kevin Smith and stars Brian O'Halloran, Jeff Anderson, Trevor Fairman, Austin Zajor, Jason Mewes, and Rosario Dawson as we follow the story of Dante, Elias, Jay, and Silent Bob are enlisted by Randall after a heart attack to make a movie about the convenience store that started it all. Now, before we get into this review, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to my friend slash comedian, Derek Bega, who has recently worked on a short film slash project called Aloha Friday. You can check it out on YouTube. It's an all Maui, no budget production, written and directed by Lucas Zaro and starring Alex Farnham, Joe Abella, and a handful of local talents. And it's in the same tradition as Freaky Friday, so go ahead and check it out. It was surprisingly hilarious. Now, getting into the review, there is absolutely no reason for a third installment for Clerks to exist other than the fact that it pays tribute to the original, which was a great movie in itself, and the second movie already had a great farewell to these characters. It's been 28 years since the original film. It's been 16 years since we last saw these guys on screen, not counting Jay and Silent Bob the reboot. But although that this takes inspiration of what happened to writer, actor, director Kevin Smith in real life, it really does give an endearing focus on Dante and Randall and their own mortality. You can really only benefit from this movie if you have been a longtime fan. Otherwise, a lot of the jokes and references are going to fly over the heads of all casual viewers. And just like the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, the screenplay does depend on a lot of pop culture references in order to earn its laughs. And half the time it lands, and most of the time it really feels like a forceful stretch in podcast talk. The Elias character, played by Trevor Fairman from the last movie, he has been established to have spiritual beliefs. You know, he comes off very religious. And in this movie, the first 20 minutes, it comes off more heavy-handed than usual. And I'm not going to lie, it almost lost me. It definitely lost a lot of people in the back row. There are some genuinely funny moments in this, and it got my chuckle every now and then, but if I'm gonna be honest, the comedy really takes a step down in compared to the first two movies, and it really weighs in more on the dramatic and more emotional perspective. And when you really think about it, even being back at the Quick Stop in full Technicolor hit differently. I am a sucker for stories about making movies. A lot of the pre-production talk and taking a trip down memory lane with Dante and Randall really got me reminiscing about the 30-minute amateur short film that me and my friends made for YouTube before, they ended up moving off island, and I hold that dear and something special in my life. There are all these little quirks, errors, and efforts that really go into production, and I love that these characters got to do it here. Plus, Kevin Smith also enjoys dissecting nuances with his filmmaking chops by making his Silent Bob character become DP. Also, the fact that everyone assumed that they were making a porno while they were setting up to film a scene is real shit. Like, no doubt, go walk around with a camera and say that you're filming something with your friends, and people suddenly assume that it's smut. I enjoyed some of the cameos that made screen appearances here, as well as some familiar faces of the past. During the audition montage, I couldn't help but realize how fucking old I am, because I got so excited seeing Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sarah Michelle Gellar after all these years, and I was like, oh wow, Scooby-Doo 2 was a long time ago. I really want a 3. Now, without getting into details or spoilers, there was a character that I was super excited to see return, but I did not realize that they wrote that person off in a dark and heart-wrenching fashion that I really began to resent the bleak tone that the Clerks movie was headed. And you know what? The Clerks movies in the past have always been drama sprinkled off with shock humor, but in this case, they really tugged a little too hard on the heartstrings. The key moment of catharsis felt like a total ripoff of Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. I just didn't buy it. It wasn't working for me because they would play back original footage and claim this as Randall's current project, and it just didn't make any sense. It wouldn't make sense if the 1994 version of you was in the project that you're working on now, fucking 28 years later. I also really don't know how to feel about the ending. Was it bittersweet, a reality check, or really fucking depressing? Because the moral of the story really does deliver catharsis for its audience. Yet again, I wasn't sure if Kevin Smith was expressing some real life feelings in this story, or was he really talking down to his audience about life? Overall, I was happy and an emotional fucking wreck to finally see Jeff Anderson, Brian O'Halloran, Jason Mewes, and Kevin Smith share the screen with that New Jersey spirit for one last time. I just think that instead of making a trilogy, they could have benefited from making some kind of Clerks reunion or some kind of behind the scenes documentary bringing them all together for one last time. Just having long awaited sequels to Smith's original projects just feel absolutely unnecessary. But I definitely admire the love and support that the cast and crew is able to come together and tribute something to the love of filmmaking after all these years. All right, guys, that's all I got to say about the closing chapter of the trilogy in the Quick Stop Legacy. Go ahead, check it out if you want to. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Look forward to more reviews. I'm Jaren Ugbanawag, and I will see you guys at the movies. Take care.